The mind was over.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Ah, I thought you from that side. I will lose loss. 5,000. Time. Push it up. Okay. What's the job? How much?
Your bag, your bag. I'm not the need. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Please, those on YouTube, can you hear me as well? Those on YouTube, please let me know if you can hear me. I'm there now. I want you to do that with your with your messages. Let's see. Trying to access your message. Okay. Can you hear me? Please send a message to me that you can hear. Okay,
Yes, ma, I can hear.
thank you, Jojo. Okay. So kindly give me 2-3 minutes to tidy up this space. I have some children. Not
What is surprise?
See.
Good afternoon, my people. Sorry for the glitch we had earlier. I thought we were going to start at 4 p.m. But I was just Zoom just logged me out without sorry. And I think we are together now. Let's see the participants on Zoom, on YouTube. Okay, so yeah, welcome back this week. And I hope we are be able to achieve more than we did last week so we can keep moving forward. All right, so I had sent the course outline to the course rep, to the course reps, and hopefully they will have sent it to you as well. So in the course outline, you would have seen what we have stated to what we are going to be doing this semester, and as well the textbooks that you can get. I told you that the first textbook, if you can't get it, you can always go to the law library session and get that. But I think for the other two, you can always check bookshops, or we can ask the law students as well if they can direct you on how to get that. So we've been able to resolve that as well. I also want to tell you that the mode we are going to be taking this time is that our test, we may have to be doing it in sections. I mean, bit by bit. We may have 10 marks test today, 5 marks test tomorrow. So what it means is that I could just give everyone a quiz. Thank God we have YouTube where we can just have a quiz on YouTube. Now, the way I want to do that is such that it's going to be impromptu. So if you are in my class, and maybe we are 30 minutes into the class, or we are 10, 20, or even an hour into the class, and I could just look at where I am and the questions that I have. I could just go and get those questions and just bring them here. So we can have like 5 minutes quiz. So thank God for Zoom and we would have all of that documented as your quiz or as your continuous assessments. It's not really that I'm trying to force you to attend in as much as you are supposed to attend, but it's just to know that you are following the class and that we are not just here just so that during exams you can cram and pour down. No, we want you to internalize these things. We want you to know, because you're just touching the basics. We are just touching the basics of contracts, all right? So I like that everyone attends. And if I call something an impromptu, I will not be expecting that someone else from somewhere comes and says that I missed that test. That will not be excuse. It's called an impromptu test. You are not supposed to know about it. So if you are in attendance, of course, you take the test. And this is where I'm going to tell you to stop writing your matric number in the chat box. Remember, when we start our class now, the chat box becomes that's where I'm going to see you. If I can't see your face, then I would be able to get you. And I will be able to see, I'll be able to get your chat. Now, someone is saying that those that have network issues, remember you asked for this class. You asked that we do it online. So which one do you want? Is it online or physical? If it had been physical, a few of you don't have a space to stay. So please ensure that your network is working fine. Okay? It's going to be well. So let me share my screen. And remember now, we are just expected to be, okay. Expected, oh, no, what am I doing? Yeah, share it here. Okay. Please, can you see my screen now? I hope my screen is clear enough for you. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, thank you. Remember, we are not talking, we are using our chat box. We are using our chat to say everything. So if, as at now, I'm still seeing people writing their names down, so that means you are not in this class. Okay? It means you are not in this class. And it means we should just remove you, or we should not sign you in as attending the class. Okay, who can tell me where we ended our discussion last week? Where did we end our discussion so we can pick up from there? I'm expecting to see your responses in the chat box. Okay. Yeah, I think, no, we are supposed to start with delegated legislation. We comment. We haven't started delegated legislations. We ended at case laws or judicial precedents. Yes, thank you, Herbert Precious. You are right. We ended at case law and judicial precedents. So thank God that I'm sure that you all know what judicial precedents, because I believe you are becoming an expert, you know. Okay, in quotes now, all right? But then I'm sure that you are getting us and that we are doing well together. The next one that I want us to talk on is delegated legislations. I noticed that it's good. Okay, who can tell us what delegated legislations means? Just in one line or two. Remember our class, we should flow in our class. When it's better that you make mistakes here and we correct with love. Don't worry, I'm not going to say you are not going to be chastised for answering the questions, okay? Remember how it was last week. Let's continue. Take it now. I'm in the class. You're not supposed to distract me. Go and take it now. I'm sorry. Okay, so it means giving authority and power to subordinate bodies. So who can give me an example of legislated legislation? An example. I believe that is transfer to power. Yes, transfer of power. Thank you. I love all those responses. Yes, someone said, no, someone said bylaw. Bylaws are not legislated legislations. Bylaws are made by local governments, bodies of, the local governments also have power to make laws. The laws that local governments make, they are called bylaws. So those are not delegated legislations. They cannot be under it. So yes, you are all right. Said transfer of power, yes. Can you give me, no, don't say veto power. Love, yes, that is delegated legislation. I love all. Can you give me an example of it? Orders in council. Yes, thank you, Abisola. Abisola said rules made by, or it's better, yes, it's better, instead of saying rules, it's better you say regulations. Like CBN making laws for itself. CBN has its own legislative capacity to also make laws for itself. Now, we also have universities making laws for themselves. Remember that University of Lagos also have its own rules and regulations. We have our handbook. Those are rules and regulations. I think they call it yellow book. Am I right? So those it is made by, University of Lagos, they are made by an act of the House of Assembly. Made all the federal universities. And so they gave power to all these federal universities as well to make rules for themselves, to make laws that binds them. Those are legislated legislations. And the reason being that you cannot expect those at the national assemblies to be making laws for us here because they are not here. We are the one here. We are the one that knows, The lecturers are the ones that knows what works for them, what has worked for them over the years. And so they will be in the best capacity. They will be in the best place to make those rules, those regulations. Now, I want to ask an example. No, warrants is not part of it, okay? Warrants is not part of it. When you are done with this class, I want you to go and ask for what University of Lagos Yellow Book means. It's our own laws, all right? It is our own laws that University of Lagos Council sits down to make for University of Lagos. And so it is all like that. CBN will have their own, regulatory bodies, all these bodies, all these institutions that are created by the federal government. A lot of the times makes bylaw, they are not bylaw, make delegated legislations. Oh, someone said it's not working in YouTube. Okay, let's do this. But I thought I saw some people there. Okay, I'll go to you. Please, if you're on YouTube, let me know if it's working or not. I'm going there to go and check your chats. But they can hear me there. Those there can hear me. In fact, they are even saying some things there which I wish I had seen. Thank God someone put house agents. No. Thank you. Ajibade Omolara said delegated legislations are laws made by other government agencies. Okay? Okay, someone said it's working. Okay, for that person that says it's not working, can that person check again? They should check again, okay? All right. I pray I'm able to get I'm just trying. I'm trying my best to be on top of this my game here. But immediately I just move out of Zoom. At times, to find my way back is a bit stressful. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm back. Okay, so Precious said the National Assembly passing law to CBN. Okay, people calm down and let me try to explain again, okay? Delegated legislation, just as it is said, you delegate law, you delegate power to make law to subsidiaries. I gave you an example of University of Lagos. And I'm saying University of Lagos to cover up for all federal universities. All right. What I'm saying in essence is that they have power to make regulations that binds them, laws that binds them. Because those are in National Assembly, they have enough in their hand to do than now giving them giving them that they should now make laws for different agencies, different government agencies. All right. It will be very cumbersome. And because they are not in the system, they would not know what works for us. So those that are in the system are given power to also make laws that binds them. Okay? Now, we have an act which created all federal institutions, especially University of Lagos. That is an act of National Assembly. It created University of Lagos. It's quite different from what the rules and regulations that University of Lagos makes for itself. All right? Now, I want you before next week to make inquiries regarding what are the rules, what are the delegated legislations that University of Lagos has created for itself. Are you writing it down? What legislation or what law as the University of Lagos, just so that you can be clear and good, what rules and regulations do the University of Lagos has? The rules and the rules and regulations of University of Lagos. Now, we also have something that is called Yellow Book. I want to go and make inquiries regarding Yellow Book. Yellow Book is created by who? I mean, by which body? Is it the Council, University of Lagos State Council, or the National Assembly? I thought I would see somebody typing it down. Are you able to type my question? Okay. We never can tell how it's going to come next week, but by next week I'll be asking questions. But I want to believe that by now, do you now understand what I mean? That the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly should delegate power to other bodies, because it will be too much on them to be making laws for every agency. So all agency has its own rules that they made by themselves. Okay, Oluwadamilola Olumide, did you get this online? If you can read what he had just said, okay, if you can read what this Olumide had said, and yes. So that is an act. It will now give power to the council in University of Lagos to also make its rules and regulations. Please, do you understand by now? Do you now understand so that we don't take too much time? I don't want to be too fast, so we can all be carried along, and also not to be too slow, so we don't waste our time. Make finding about Yellow Book of, okay, yeah. Also, don't forget to look for Yellow Book, Lagos, University of Lagos Yellow Book. I think it's called Yellow Book because it has a yellow cover. So let's quickly move on to secondary sources, and we call one of them is customary law. Customary law. Who can explain what owo ile means? Owo ile. And in what circumstance have you heard of owo ile? Yeah, somebody said royalties, the job. Someone said money collected by land grabbers. Okay, so please, who is helping us with this person? Kindly stop this person from interrupting us. Okay, so let me just start by explaining what customary law means. Land use charge is not customary law, it's not owole, okay? All right, someone said money for land. Okay, thank God I'm getting this so that I'll know how to explain it. Okay, customary law. Customary laws, they are laws that are made or that were created from customs of a definite environment. So let's say, for example, if you look at, I would say Yoruba custom because I've seen it among the Yorubas very well. I don't know because I've never been to an Igbo land, so I wouldn't know, okay? Or neither have I been to a market there. I could remember when we were young, I used to sell oranges with my sister. And when we go to where we get those oranges, after buying the oranges, you will select the oranges you like. You select them in a basket. I could remember that after selecting those oranges, maybe the oranges, I think it is, they call it, I'm going to use a Yoruba language that it is called. They call it Owokon. Owokon means you are buying a set. A set may be 100. So if a set of orange, which is a basket of orange, and they expect you to have 100 in that basket, after making, maybe the basket is 10,000 naira. After making the payment of 10,000 naira, you are expected to pay owo ile. It means the grant in which you have paid, you kept your orange. And not just that, the land where those people actually came to arrange the oranges. A lot of the times, those that bring those oranges, they are coming from the farm. They are not expected to pay for the shop. They are just there to just transfer the items to you. But because a lot of the times, they have to be at a specific place. So under our customs, under Yoruba custom, You, the buyer, you are expected to make payments for the shop or for the land in which they have placed all of their oranges. So they will now be collecting the money bit by bit from every of their customers. So invariably, you are the one paying for the land in which they put all their oranges or all of their produce. You call it owo. Those are customs. Now, somebody can be asking, can have this, okay, it's not owo, it's owo. Now, owo is more or less like you are paying for what you, your own, you went to, you got a place and, no. In Yoruba custom, we call it owo. So invariably, where they have placed those items, because they are coming from the farm, they just come as well to come out. But a lot of the time, they don't meet people on ground. So they'll be waiting for you. While they are waiting for you, those that own that property, we want to collect the money for that property from them. And so it is you, the customers, that pay for it. I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this as well. I could remember 2 years ago, we went for a conference. And while coming back, we got to a place around a state, a Yoruba state. So we got there, and along that side, they have the farmers market there. So we had to branch. And after we had bought all the items we wanted to buy, I didn't know these things still exist. They said we need to pay for, owo. And a lot of us, all of us were lawyers that went for the conference. I know we're like, why am I paying extra? And one of us just remember, someone just reminded us, one of the law lecturers, and he said, don't forget to, it's customs. You have to pay owo. And really, because we know that you cannot challenge customs. If you take them to court, they will win you. Because these are customs. You expected to know them. And you don't know them. We bought items worth 50,000 naira. And because of 500 naira, they will not allow us to take the items away with us. So these are customs that are over the years, they have become laws. So that is why we say they are sources of law in themselves. If you go to Ikorodu now, they still practice oro. Oro means this is a deity that is worshipped, and that at some specific time you will not be allowed to go to a certain place because they need to sacrifice to the deity. All right. So if you cannot challenge those laws, aside from that, we also have things that has been done over the years, means of punishing offenders. In some part of Nigeria, if you steal things from the farm, they will beat you with they will get whip to beat. They could say if you steal 2 tubers of yam, they could give you 10 strokes of the cane. And nobody can challenge that. Now someone will be asking, are there extremes to these things? Yes, there are extremes. There are extremes to cultural, to customary law. There are some customary law there that are not humane. No, in those days, when they want to sacrifice to Oro, they will say they will kill people to sacrifice to it. So a lot of nowadays, it is not approved again. Those things that are not good for that ordinarily common man should not hear, it should not be seen. It will be, as it is now, you cannot kill people. You don't have power to kill. It could have happened in those days, but now. So those things that are repugnant to natural justice, they are not allowed anymore. So even there's a limit to how much you wipe people, you use the cane to whip people. You cannot kill all in the name of sacrifices again. It doesn't mean that we are letting go of all of our customs. It's just us now trying to sit down and try to sieve out those things that are repugnant to natural justice, that are not good for human being, that are not humane, that are against human rights. Everyone has rights to live. You can't just pick a person and kill them. So those are things that are extremes. And as it is now, you hardly hear of these things happen. Please, do you understand customary law now? And you know what? The world has been so advanced that a lot of you, all your days in secondary school, you were moved around with cars. In our days, when I tell you I sell orange, it's not as if my parents could not, but then we're selling orange, myself and my sister. I don't know. My sister, I hope that one of these days you can visit any of these markets, you can visit them and see how it is done. So you can have a feel of it. So let's quickly move to international laws. And I don't know what runs in your mind. You're thinking, does international law have anything to do with Nigerians? Why we have our laws? Now, I want you to start by understanding the fact that the world is now a global village. The world is now a global village. You will know that people commit crime against or people, any people in Nigeria or even people in the United States of America can commit crime against people in Nigeria. So because we now have, the world has become global. Because of that, we now need to have laws that if you are in America, you cannot run away from some certain rules that says you should not cheat another person, even if the rules in America may not be able to hold them. We have international laws. Who can give me examples of international laws? We have several international laws. We have laws on aviation, human rights. Who can give me the human rights law? Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Thank you. Can we clap for Zainab? Yes. Another person. We have treaties. Yes, I like the fact that you are telling me that they are on law, they are on fraud, on banking. Just give me the specific laws that you know. I'm expecting. Someone said ordinances. No, you can't. Remember we said you can't use ordinances. Someone said sales of goods. That one, remember that we said it started from the SOGAL, with the Status of General Application. United Nations Charter, the World Trade Organization agreements. Yes, thank you, everyone. WASO, yes. So those are international laws. And the reason we have this international law is such that the world being a global village can be regulated by its own global laws as well. You would hardly see people commit crimes against other states because we have laws regulating us. You will notice that recently there was an head of states was saying to another head of another country that they would invade that country because some set of people had been, there'd been killings of some set of people. That person is just saying it. They can't just invade, right? Without having some grounds according to international laws. All right? Yes, someone said ECOWAS. I don't want you to mention names in my chat box, please. I teach intellectual properties. Okay, let's be careful. Yes, someone said Convention on the Rights of a Child, So we have international laws that regulate us as well. So you can't just leave Nigeria and think you can cheat others in another country. No, it's not done. With international laws, such a person can be made to face the law. So to wrap everything up, another source of law that we have, there are books, legal dictionaries, periodicals, newspapers. Now, in the courts, we lawyers, we have a way we do our things. if I want to write, if I want to address the courts, and I don't really have strong basis from convention, from the legislations, from precedents, from customs, something. I can have my basis from textbooks. I can use textbooks to persuade the courts. Although those are just persuasive, they are not going to be binding the courts. They cannot bind the courts. But then I can use textbooks. I can use, because we see the writers of these books as those that has done good research before they can make their conclusions. And so if in a textbook, the writer has used like 20 books to form up their textbooks, you see them as being well researched. And so whatever you use those textbooks for, we can also cite it before the courts as laws. Like I said, they can be for persuasive reasons. All right? You cannot hold the court. It doesn't bind the courts, but it can persuade the courts. And so we can use textbook. Lawyers can go to court and use SAGE on contract to persuade the court. We can use our Black's Law Dictionary, definitions from Black Law dictionaries to persuade the court. We use newspapers, we use journals, we use periodicals. And the reason being that these things has been well researched before they are placed in the public. Okay? I hope at this point we are still on the same page. Are we doing well? Let me check. Sorry. Need to check those here too, so I know they are checking, they are here. Okay, thank you, Jerry. Yes, thank you, Saidat. Okay, I'm talking to those on YouTube. Oh, Yelowo, thank you. All right. So that we can conclude, I pray we can conclude the introductory aspects today. Okay. So I now want us, now we are done with sources of law. Okay. Now there's another thing I want us to also, but I think, okay. Okay, before that, let me quickly talk on this. Under the law, we have something we call the rules of interpretations. The way we interpret the laws. Now, if you are citing a law, a legislation, the constitution, a precedent, a book, received English law, if you are citing it before a court, now, the court has different ways they interpret these things. And the reason why we have these ways is such that we will have them all in the box. We don't want people to just go out there and be interpreting things the way they want. We want the interpretations of these laws to be well defined. All right? To be well defined, and so that to be that if after a judgment is made, a lawyer can sit down with that judgment, read it, and understand the interpretation. And so we have the literal rule, we have the golden rule, and we have the mischief rule. And like as it is written here, the literal rule is just interpreting the law just in its ordinary meaning. You do not infer anything to it. If the law says, if anyone kills, you slap them, that is it. You don't now think the slapping means you can use a cane or you can use the leg to slap them. It means they would even like that you slap with the hand. So ordinarily, what it means is that if somebody kills, what you need to do is just to use your hand to slap the person. That is literally just the way it is written down. We now have something we call the golden rule. Now, the golden rule is there to modify the literary rules. There are some literary rules that if you apply it, it can end up coming up as an unjust result. So, I'm going to give this example. We have some laws that in the law they could say, oh, you accord appropriate punishments. Appropriate punishments could be any type of punishment. But, or let's say, for example, there are some laws now that we have presently that they have not yet been reviewed. And so, for example, there could be some laws that will say, oh, if somebody, for example, the old CAMA, now we have a new CAMA. That's the Corporate Affairs, Companies and Allied Matters Act. It used to be that if you want to, if maybe some directors, if they had done some things illegally, that they are supposed to pay some fine. And in those days, they could have 100 naira fine. And as at 2020, or would I say as at 2018, that 100 naira fine is still there. So people can just go out there and just do whatever they want illegally. And they know that if they do anything illegally with 100 naira, they will be able to save themselves. Because we have had that law for like 40 years ago. And as of 40 years ago, 100 naira is seen as money that is, that's very, very weighty. So in those times, like in the 2018, 2010, a good judge will want to apply the golden rule. Because the intention of the law is to punish, and to punish appropriately. So if the law is saying when somebody does something wrong, they will pay some certain amount of money, and they are still made to pay the amount of money that has been expected to be paid 40 years ago, a judge of recent, a good judge that would want to use the golden rule, can say, I would like to melt this punishment, or for you to pay a fine that is appropriate to the illegal acts that you have done, so that they can stylishly move away from the rule itself and ensure they serve what the law intends for them to do. So golden rules means that it gives room for judges to avoid the literary rule, so that they will bring about justice and bring about what is fair, so that a victim will not feel cheated. All right? Please, do you understand the golden rule? Do you understand the golden rule? So someone said they don't understand. The literary rule means just the ordinary meaning. What it means. Okay? Now let's now go to the mischief rule. Let's go to the mischief rule. Now, the mischief rule at times, see, for example, or before I give you the example, let me try to just break it down. When you hear mischief, there's a lot of laws. The reason why we have a lot of this law is so that some people that think they are smart will not be allowed to go scot-free. And so, if there's a mischief that a law is trying to guide against, people will not use the ordinary meaning of a law to interpret the law. So that the mischief rule will be used to address the exact mischief that the law is trying to correct. Okay? So, the essence of it also is so that the court can apply fairness and ensure that the rules are effectively addressed, effectively adhered to. Please excuse me. Okay. So in essence, mischief rule is that there's a mischief, there's a reason why we have this law. So if the law literally did not address it, it doesn't mean that the court will not sit down and try to see the reason why such laws are there. So let's say, for example, I want to use something. There was a time that we have this cross-dresser in Nigeria. The cross-dresser was accused of spraying money, right? Spraying money, which was against the rules of Naira. And so he was taken to court. And immediately, the lawyer was being very, very smart. The lawyer told him, ensure that when you get there, you plead you are guilty. And of course, when I told you, please, I don't want names here, okay? Let's not mention names. So the court had told this person, when you get to court, say that you are guilty. And so he did, because a lot of the times when people do that, the court tries to be kind to them and reduce the punishment that they will be given. But there's a reason why that law was created. The law was created to correct. It's for correction. And so if people are made to be paying fine and paying fine and paying fine, the rich ones will just think, don't worry, let me spray. Is it not just fine that they will, let's say, have to pay? It's just fine. And what the judge in that case did, was it a judge or a magistrate? What the magistrate in that case did was that the magistrate sentenced the cross-dresser to prison. The reason, if you look at it very well, a normal man, a common man would be like, but then there is an option of fine. Why would you go to this man is being sincere enough and is respecting he's trying to, he has accepted his mistake. But then the essence of the law, right, is to correct. And of course, before you do correction, you also need a scapegoat. And so the judge, in trying to bring about justice, ensure that he knows what the essence of the law is, so we don't abuse the Naira. And by so doing, some people have to be punished. And the punishment should not be the one. If you are rich enough to spray people money, then if they say you should pay 2-3 million naira, you will be willing to pay. And money cannot address it. It cannot send the message across. If not imprisonment. And if you notice since then, there was a lot of saga with that person. And since then, that person has been a little bit quiet so far. So I hope you understand the mischief rule. I hope you understand the mischief rule. So let us quickly move on, because we have a lot of things to cover up for. All right, I want us to at least finish the introductory aspect today. Let me also check our people here. Okay. Ah. Okay, so as it is, you all are 1,005 plus. I can only count 576 candidates. So if I'm doing my test now, my online test now, I hope it's okay. Because I think I've given enough room for this. All right, people, let's quickly move. The next that we have here is, okay, this is a better explanation, right? Okay. Okay, so let's look at court systems in Nigeria. The court systems in Nigeria. Okay, I wish before now. So, but then, so I don't waste your time, let me leave it at this. But the way the way I would like to also explain the court system in Nigeria is to start by talking about the functions of the courts. So who can give me one or two functions of the courts? What are the functions of the courts in Nigeria? Functions of Nigerian courts. I'm expecting you to give me settlement of disputes. Beautiful. Remember, they don't really settle disputes. They adjudicate on disputes. Okay? They punish offenders, settle, ensure justice, punishment, application of laws. Justice is that. Thank you very much. Thank you, editorial interpretation of the law and all of that. Thank you all. Thank you for all of your input so far. You have really made me, I could see that. But you know, like I said, I want everybody's participation. You know, at the end of it, by the time I start going through the WhatsApp, the Zoom, I like that I see everybody's name at least to have answered my questions. So the core function of the court is the interpretation of the law, is to interpret the law. Remember, the legislations makes the law. The executive enforces the law, but the judiciary, who are the courts now, they interpret it. You take the case to courts and you say, my lord, Section 35 of the Constitution provides for liberty, for personal liberty. And the court is in court, that the court will tell you what personal liberty is. You cannot say a person who has stolen should be given liberty. It's in the court that the court will interpret what it means to have liberty. Subsequently, another function of the court is also to make laws as well, subsidiary legislation. And they make law by what? How do the court make law? We are done with that one. I'm asking another question. How do they make law? I said another function of the court is subsidiary legislation. They also make law. How do they make law? How did the court? Yes, thank you, Denfred, and some other people. Danfresh, sorry. Is that a name? Okay. So thank you. They make law by judicial precedent. That means you've been in class so far. So those are their core functions. All right. We also have some other functions, some other roles. Now, the role of court, a role of the court. The court has a role for check and balances. All right. They have the role of check and balances. Now, if a state has a problem with another state, they go to court to interpret the law and to ensure there's check and balances. Now, if a state, even if a citizen thinks that the federal government are not doing what they're expected to do, we've had cases that Mr. Falana SAN has instituted in court, all in the name of ensuring that human rights of Nigerians are respected. And this is how to ensure check and balances. the court, you cannot go anywhere but to go to the court. So checks and balances, the court enforces or brings about checks and balances. And also ensures citizen rights. The court also ensures citizen rights. So another role of the court is adjudication. Somebody said settle dispute. Of course, they settle dispute. But remember, a lot of the times, it is more or less not total, it's not a win-win case. It's always a win-lose case. Yes, they settle dispute. When you go to court, whatever the court says becomes the law. And so everybody would have to adhere to it. So it's adjudication. The court adjudicates. The total, or would I say the summary role or the summary goal of the courts is to ensure effectiveness, number one, to ensure effective and efficient administration of justice. The court tries to ensure that in administering justice, there is effectiveness and there is efficiency. Over the years, we've had cases of saying, the courts they've come up with different methods of ensuring that parties don't waste their times in court. I hope we've had cases that have been in court for 30 years. We've had cases that even those that own the case, those that institute the cases are dead, but their children had to inherit the cases. Example of cases on land. All right. So another core goal of the court, which they have been doing, this pencil now. Please, clean your table. Clean your table first. Clean your table, show them. Clean your table first. And cover your flask. Sorry about that. Okay. Olaiwola Basira, can you please type in your question? Or you can just write your question down, okay? I would answer. I just pen it down somewhere. I would answer it. So I said the goal of the court is to bring about efficiency and effectiveness. Now, over the years we have they've been giving courts. Why do some cases take years? It takes years because of a lot of the times, party themselves, they waste time. And we have few judges to cases. We don't have enough courts to administer. The way our courts are in Nigeria is that we are supposed to have different courts for different jurisdiction, different courts for certain environments. If you have 50,000 people here around in Akoka, not even in Akoka, the whole of Yaba, I think we have 2 or 4 high courts for Yaba, for mainland. If we have a court for mainland, 2 courts for mainland, and you have 50 cases trooping in every day, 50 cases, the dates that they will be giving to these cases will be so much far. There will be long distance within cases. Now, in courts now, they've started giving February dates in courts. If you go to court now as a lawyer and you want to take an adjournment, they could give you a February date. And so that means within a year, you may have 4 days for your case. And within that 4 days, you may not even have started trial. It could just be the preliminaries. So one of the reasons why cases takes that long in court is that we don't have enough hands. We don't have enough courts, which I think the country, or would I say, they are working on. This is work in progress, because the rate at which we are increasing in number is quite alarming. All right. And that's as a result of poverty. And I pray that all of these things will be resolved. I know that one day there will be a time that everything will be regulated. Okay. All right. So let us keep going. And that is it for the role of the courts. I said the role of the court, they have functions. We talk about checks and balances. We talk about adjudication, and we talk about the goal of the courts. And the goal of the judiciary, which is the court, is to bring about effectiveness and efficiency in adjudication of these cases. Now, I want us to look at the history of courts in Nigeria, especially in Nigeria. Who can tell me how this adjudication system started in Nigeria? I wish I can give candies from here. I wish I can give you sweets. There's somebody, this techno spark, the person is online and is distracting us. Are you sure you are in the class? You are on the main road. Techno spark, Mr. Flex. No, this Mr. Flex, you are on red. You are wearing a red shirt. The guy is on the road and is distracting me. All right. So, oh, someone said, are we on the right slide? Yes, we are on the right slide. Just with that slide, what I used to do before now is just to explain the types of courts. But I just think I need to go a little bit deep. So what I'm going to do, just try to listen to me. I just want to ensure that I just don't go straight to telling you the courts that we have in Nigeria without giving you a kind of background. Do you understand? And so I was asking that who can tell me the history of courts in Nigeria? Do we just start the adjudicatory system in Nigeria? Anyway, so that I don't waste time, okay? So thank you very much. Some people are saying before the colonial era. Before the colonial era. Remember that we already have our system in place as a people. We have our system in place. Pre-colonial, yes. We have a way we settle our disputes. When you have a problem in the Yoruba area, we go to the kings. For the Eastern, your Igbos, they have elders that you can go to, and they are well respected in the environment. The Hausas, they know maybe to go to the emirs, to go to the imams in the northern area. You know, we have our ways of doing our things. But then the colonials, the British came in, and so they brought in the idea of the court system. So far, so good. It's been good to us. Funny enough, very funny, very, very funny. It is now the same colonials, the same British, the same white men that are now reintroducing our system back to us now. We now call it the alternative dispute resolution. That is, instead of going to court, why not resolve your dispute amongst yourself? These are the things that we have on our own before. Now, they now make it look even neater, that you now have these are the things we have. We have the elders in our environment. We have people that the Yorubas, I know they call them Bale. Even the husbands, you have issues amongst the wives. They know where to go to. That's our history anyway. I won't want to go deep into that. We have the pre-colonial, we have the colonial influence, and now we have our own system. We haven't done much to what the colonial must. In fact, we are still wearing the clothes that they introduced to us. If before a lawyer can appear before a judge in Nigeria, you have to be robed. You have to have your wig and gown on, especially in the high courts, and so on. We haven't done much. It's not as if it's different from what we had inherited from the colonial masters. We still are doing what they had introduced to us. Thank you. Someone mentioned the emir for the Hausa, the Olori Ebi for the family. So that is it for that. Yeah, right. Stop crying. All right. Have you stopped crying? All right. So I'm sure that we are going to finish this today. I have just 30 minutes. So I want us to, thank God you now know our history. And it's not as if you don't know it before. I'm just trying to remind you. I know you all know these things before. So someone asks if we make use of jury members. We don't use the jury system in Nigeria. We use, that is inquisitorial system. We use the adjudication. We adjudicate. We have the judge are meant to say nothing. Nobody would go into the arena. You keep quiet. We don't use the jury system in Nigeria, okay? In Nigeria, we only use the judge. It is the judge that sits on the case. We don't use the jury system. So thank you for asking that question. Yeah, we use the adversarial. Yes, thank you, Mary. All right, quickly, let's move to the structures that we have in Nigeria. In Nigeria, Suleiman said, would you say jury? Jury is not better, seriously. It's not better for the victim. No, it's not better for the suspects. But, it's mostly used in criminal cases, right? It's the jury system. It's not as if it's bad. But really, for the jury system, you never can determine the mind of the juries. You never can determine their mind. They can go anyway. But in our system, all right, in adversarial, you can always determine, because we have precedents of things that have happened along this line, that, it is precedent that we use a lot of time. So you can always determine what the result of a case will be, at least to some extent, at least 50%. A lawyer will know what the result will be, at least to some extent, not totally though, but to some extent. That is one of the reasons that I would prefer what we are practicing now than the jury system. And the jury system is expensive as well. And we are a growing economy. All right, let's quickly move on. I want you to also, thank God we are done. We are clear with the introductory, the history. Now, the federal structure. Remember that Nigeria practices. You can go. No, upstairs toilet. The middle toilet is open. It's not locked. You can put it there. You cannot. I'm not when you are going on. Take it there. I'm in the class. You are distracting me. You are distracting me. That place is too far for children. I want to beat you. Judicial. I'm so sorry. So the good thing about this timing is that there are some little human being here that could distract me, but then we are on course. So remember, and I want you to know that in Nigeria, we use a federal system, a federal structure. So what it means is that we have the state government and we have the federal government. All right. So just as it is like that. So just like then we have the federal courts and we have the state courts. I have started my court system. Please, I want you to be attentive at this time. Okay? I want you to be attentive. We have the federal courts and we have the state courts. Who can give me an example of a federal court? I'll clap for you. Who can give me an example? Example of federal courts. Yeah, no, thank you. I've seen Supreme Court, yes. The High Court of no, it's Court of
Federal
Appeal.
High Court of Abuja of the FCT.
High Court of Appeal. Yes, the Federal Capital Territory High Court is also. Thank you all. I'm clapping for everybody. I'm clapping. You are doing so well. Thank you so very much. Those are examples of federal courts, all right? We also have the state courts. So who can give me examples of the state courts? What are the examples of the state courts? Yes, we have the state high courts. We have the Sharia court, yes. We have the magistrate court. The National Industrial Court is not a state high court. Yeah, we have the customary courts. Thank you, everyone. So let me just dig into it so we can conclude the class. Thank you. Keep the response coming. Keep them coming. So that's very good. So now, I want us to now go straight to the federal courts. Now, a lot of the times, we have, if there, at least to some extent, we have the federal courts at the apex courts. So, like I pinpoint here, look at the structure that I gave here. We have the Supreme Court, we have the Court of Appeal. Then underneath it, we have the High Courts, National Industrial Court, and all of that. Now, the highest court that we have in Nigeria is the Supreme Court. The highest court in Nigeria is the Supreme Court. Okay, so like I said, we have the Supreme Court as the apex court, and the Supreme Court falls under the federal courts. It is the apex court and it's the final court. Any appeal, if you have filed a case in the Court of Appeal and you are not comfortable, you are not okay with that, with the resolution of the Court of Appeal, you can go to the Supreme Court to file an appeal at the Supreme Court. Do you understand? You can file an appeal at the Supreme Court. And not just that, the Supreme Court not only take appeals alone, they also take cases that has to do between two states, where two states have issues between themselves. They go directly to the Supreme Court to interpret and to sort out their issues, especially when it has to do with cases on federal jurisdictions and all of that. They go to the Supreme Court straight. So the next is the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal. The next is the Court of Appeal. So the Court of Appeal also hear appeal from the lower courts. And the lower courts that we have are the federal high courts, and so on and so forth. We have the state high courts. Appeal comes from there to the Supreme Court. And they have different divisions. Now, Supreme Court doesn't have division everywhere in Nigeria. You can only find Supreme Court where? Where can you only find the Supreme Court? I thought I would get responses here. Yes, Maclean, yes. You can only get the Supreme Courts in Abuja. It's only in Abuja that the Supreme Court is. All right. And we have 21 judges at the Supreme Court. And on normal cases at the Supreme Court, we have 5 judges seats on normal cases. But cases that have to do with the interpretation of the Constitution, 7 judges seats over each case. Yeah, we only have 21 judges at the Supreme Court. So the next one is, like I was talking about the Court of Appeal. Now, the Court of Appeal, we have Court of Appeal in different states in Nigeria, but not in all states in Nigeria. I'm coming, please. So I'm back. Don't worry, I'm going to conclude it today. And I'm going to ensure you all understand. So at this point,
Lawyer ni wọ́n, olóṣèlú wọn, 30 minutes ní
as
kíláàsì
it
wa.
is now, we have, okay, someone has even gone around to, okay, Isaac, you have a question. Isaac, can you just, either you type it here or you please Sorry, I didn't know you've been, sorry, thank you. Sorry. I thought I'd unmute myself. So, thank you. So as it is now, we have Court of Appeal, we have Court of Appeal, we have at Ibadan, Ogun State, Akure, we have in Lagos. That is for the Western region. And we have them here and there and everywhere, okay? Like that. So that's for Court of Appeal. And Court of Appeal take appeal from the lower courts. They also sit, they take appeal directly, they take some appeal directly from election tribunals. All right? They sit on cases like that. So that's for Court of Appeal. Now, another federal high court, another court that is with the federal, at the federal level is the Federal High Court. Now, the Federal High Court is on the same pedestal with the State High Courts. But then the difference between them is that Federal High Court deals with specific cases like taxation, like maritime, like any cases on maybe things on federal. Let's say, for example, an accident, a criminal activity took place on a federal property along a federal road. All right. And they also have we have federal high courts in almost all the states in Nigeria. So the reason is just to bring the court closer to the people and to reduce the stress of having to travel all the way to Abuja before you can resolve cases that has to do with the Federal High Court. All right, yes. Thank you very much. So the next that I like us to talk about is, I also want you to also know that every court, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, the High Court in Abuja, they are also under the federal. They are under the federal. They are under what we call the federal courts. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory are also under the federal courts. Now, under the federal courts, we also under the federal courts. Remember, not the Federal High Courts. I'll do my best to see if I can put this thing into a slide. I mean, this extra explanation. The Federal High Courts is different from the federal courts. So remember, I'm trying to categorize the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the Federal High Court under federal courts. And under federal courts, we also have the Sharia Court of Appeal, the Customary Court of Appeal. Those are under the federal courts. Okay? The Sharia Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory and also the Customary Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory. All right? So, all right, so the next is, let's look at the state courts now. And I want to, please do not forget, look at this line that I have here. I hope you can see my cursor. Look at the line that I have here. If you can see, the Federal High Court is also on this line together with state. Okay? The National Industrial, what cases do National Industrial High Court handles? You can tell us the cases that the National Industrial High Court handles. I thought we mentioned something like that in the class last week. Oh, have I stopped sharing my screen? Can you not see my screen? Can you see my, yes, thank you, Momodu. Yeah, labeled this, Mahmoud, sorry, please. Yes, thank you, industrial actions. Can you see my screen? I hope my screen is, yeah. So, The National Industrial Courts is easy. Just go and think of it. This thing is very, very easy. They are all very, very easy. Okay. So thank you very much. Show me how you are playing. It's simple. It's simple. Right. So that's it for industrial action, employment relation things. Those are the things that the National Industrial Court handles. Now let's quickly move. Let's keep moving so we don't take much time doing just a little today. Okay, so the state high courts. The state high courts, each state has its own high courts. And for all these high courts, the judges are appointed by the governors. It is the governors of the states that appoint the judges, and they are being funded by the states. And the thing that they do basically is to handle cases that emanate from that case. Now, the state high courts, they handle criminal, they have criminal and civil jurisdictions. Okay, so they can now, their jurisdiction is now based on the severity of the criminal case or on the amount when it comes to civil cases. So for cases of felony, cases of murder, cases of rape and all of that is handled by the high courts. I'm talking about cases that has to do with criminal cases. But for civil cases, you know, cases that has gone beyond billions, in fact, 100 million, for those kind of amount of money, they don't go to magistrate court straight. They go to the high court directly. The high court has original jurisdiction. I mean, fresh jurisdiction for those cases. All right? That is it for the state high court. But for the magistrate court is under, so any appeal, if anybody takes a case to the state high court and they are not comfortable, or they think that the judge is not just enough, they can appeal to the Court of Appeal. They directly send the appeal to the Court of Appeal. All right. So underneath it is the magistrate court. Magistrate courts, you see we have more magistrate court than we have the high courts, because they handle the petty, as in the little cases, those petty cases, cases of stealing, battery, you know, cases that are not felony, misdemeanors. They handle it when it comes to criminal cases. And when it comes to civil cases, they handle cases on amounts that's maybe below 10 million naira. All right. You know, the idea is so that magistrate courts, we say that they are courts of no record. They don't keep big record like the high courts will keep their own records. Their records is not that sophisticated like the high courts will keep their records. All right. So there's likelihood that within a year, some cases are being sought out. They are being resolved at the magistrate court, because although they take a lot of cases, but because the cases are not as severe as those that goes to the high court, they are able to resolve those cases on time. In fact, there are a lot of times that people end up solving their cases outside of courts, you know, and, you know, by the time a case is instituted today, the next date they'll take an adjournment, and by the time they are coming, they are telling the court we are resolving the case within ourselves, because they are not as severe as those that goes to the high court. Okay, thank you. Ibitoye asked for cases court that settle marital cases are sorted out in the high court. Magistrate court do not have power over marital cases. So for divorces, it goes directly to the courts. All right? It goes directly to the courts. It goes directly to the state high court, okay? All right. It goes directly to the state high court. So let's try to move ahead from here. I know you still have a lot of questions, but just keep on bringing in your question. What are the examples of minor cases? Yes, I mean misdemeanors. We call them like stealing, like pickpockets, all these little fights on the streets, you know, battery, people that comes, you know, cases that are not as much as petty theft, burglary, and all of that. Thank you. So let me quickly move so I don't take your time, because I don't want to take your time before time. Okay. So alongside these high courts, we also have the Sharia courts. We have the customary courts, all right? Now, the Sharia Court of Appeal. Remember, the Sharia Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory belongs to the federal courts. But some states also have their own Sharia Court of Appeal. Those one falls under the state courts. Okay? They fall under the state jurisdiction. So those are, we have the Customary Court of Appeal, we have the Sharia Court of Appeal, we also have the Area Court of Appeal. All right? So those one falls under together with the High Court. Now, together with Magistrate Court, you can then see Sharia courts, we can see the area courts, we can even see some other court that we call some courts, district courts. We can see district courts in the north. All of this, I'm going to ensure that I put them down so that you are able to get them. All right. So I hope that I have. Okay, that is it for what I have there. But let me try to do a further explanation. Now, we have some courts. We call them special courts. We have the juvenile courts. Do you know what juvenile courts are? We have juvenile courts. We have the coroner courts of inquest. We have the court of resolution. We also have the election tribunals. Those are special courts because they are called special court because they deal with specific things. They deal with special cases. For juvenile court try cases of children below 17 years. Or can we say below 17 years? But ordinarily, they try cases below, for civil cases, they are for civil cases for children of below 17 years. All right? Cases below child, yeah. For coroner court, they are just a court of investigation. They go there to investigate the deaths of people. When people die mysteriously, when they are unable to know the reason for people's deaths, they take it to coroner court. Who can give me an example? Yeah, to investigate. Who can give me an example of cases that coroner court has decided in Nigeria? I'm sure you guys were cases of coroner cases in Nigeria that you've. Yes, Mohbad's case. Went to yes, Mohbad case. And before Mohbad case, there was this church as well. There was this church as well that it took the death of people that there was a collapse on their sites. It's in Lagos here, around Sele and all of that. There was a collapse in the church, and so they took the case. So those are is a court of investigation, of inquiry. They go there to investigate the death of people. Yeah, thank you, Simisola. That is it. So we also have court of resolution, alternative dispute resolution court. We have them in Nigeria. For example, we have the multi-door courthouse in Nigeria. You can see they are in the High Court of Lagos State. They have their own office. They also have office in Ikeja, where you can go there to resolve your case amicably. They use alternative dispute resolution like mediation, arbitration, and conciliation. All right. We also have the tribunals. Like, for example, the election tribunals, where after elections, parties go in there to resolve their election cases. Now, I know by now, you will know, even with the chart that I have there, you know the hierarchy of courts. The highest court the lowest court that we have in Nigeria. Who can give me the lowest court that we have in Nigeria? What is the lowest court in Nigeria? Yes, Sharia courts. No, customary. No, magistrate court is not totally the lowest court. Yeah, but you can still put them that they are low, but lowest, like area court, thank you, customary courts, Sharia court, these are very low, courts that actually they are in the grassroots. They deal mostly with cultures and all of that. Okay. And that's people that are married under customs, that they are not married under the law, they didn't go to the registry, or did they go to the registered place of worship to get married. Those ones have to dissolve their marriages at the customary courts. And which is the highest court in Nigeria? I know you know, but I want to hear you talk. The Supreme Court is the highest, followed by what? Followed by the Court of Appeal. Then under the Court of Appeal, we have this set of courts that they have the same hierarchy. Sorry, they have the same jurisdiction. They have the same power. They are on the same level. Who can talk about this? I want you to list this court that are on the same level. You already have it there. I have put it down there. We have the High Courts, the Federal High Courts, the High Court of States. We have the National Industrial High Courts. Keep it coming. We have the Sharia Court of Appeal, the Customary Court of Appeal. Yeah. The Federal High Courts. I hope that everybody understands what we have done in class today. I hope that you have in class today. The only final word that I have before a question that I may want to take a question is that we have some court. We call them court of records. They are court that handles cases, and a lot of the time they do with filing of papers. The court of records that we have in Nigeria, they are the Supreme Courts, the Court of Appeal. Those courts that I said are on the same pedestal, like the High Court, they all are courts of records. But from magistrate court downward, you may really not have to file, bring a paper before a court. The only thing that, for example, if you have a case of stealing in magistrate court, and the charge was read out to the accused person, and the accused person pleaded not guilty, the lawyer for the accused person, or sorry, we don't call them accused, we call them suspects. The lawyer for the suspect can stand up and appeal for the release of the person on bail. But in high court, you cannot just stand up. What we do is that you would have filed papers. Those papers that you filed before the court, we call them motion for bail and all of that. But in magistrate court, you really don't have to. But some people still go ahead to file it just to ensure they are proper before the court. And if you have those papers before the court, it reduces your stress. In magistrate court, it's not compulsory, although some courts may expect that you do it. But in high court and above, it is compulsory that you file paper so that they can have record of all that you have done. So for those courts, we call them court of records. I hope please, I want everybody to start writing their matric number in the chat box. I give you just 1 minute to write your matric number in the chat box. Now, I don't want this number that I have to increase. Oh. This number must not increase. Oh. The co-host, can you please close the entrance? I don't want any other person to enter, except that we cannot do it in YouTube. But I trust that everyone here, you are sincere enough. You are sincere enough not to be writing for people and also not to start calling them because they have left. So please, who has any question? Do we have question? Yes, Esther Mohammed. Yes, you can go ahead. Unmute yourself. I hope you can unmute yourself, Esther. Yes, please unmute yourself.
Okay, well, good evening, ma. Thank you for the class, ma.
Yeah.
Okay, so on what hierarchy can we call, or can we give special courts? What hierarchy can we give them?
So a lot of these special courts, they are under the Court of Appeal. A lot of appeal from the court, you can always put them a few times. It depends on the case under the High Courts. They are under the High Courts. Although there are some appeals from them that go to the Court of Appeal, but they are under the High Courts. Normally call them special courts. For example, look at Corona. It's just for inquiry. They just want to make inquiry. If after the inquiry, they now found that this person killed this person, they will now file the case to the appropriate courts. All right? For example, if somebody kills another person, is that not a serious offense? If it's a serious offense, then what it means is that any case from there, if a person had a problem, if they are detected that someone killed another, they take that case to the state high court, all right? And also look at for juvenile. You really cannot appeal cases on juvenile because the purpose of the juvenile court is not to punish the child, is to rehabilitate the child. So they could just be there and say, oh, the child will be in the care of the state for 5 years to ensure that they rehabilitate him, or he will be in this with the state till he becomes 17 so that they can rehabilitate him. So you hardly see cases or appeal go from Corona or goes from juvenile courts. But then when it comes to election petition, so election petition, some of them appeal goes to states and some there from states goes to the Court of Appeal and goes I like that. Although they have specific time, 90 days to which they give each cases to you can't do more than 90 days so that they don't waste the time of the voters. So what do you is it Muhammad? Do you understand me? I need you to send a yes or no in the chat box. So
Yes.
Isaac Ifeoluwa, yes, let's hear you.
Good evening, ma.
Yeah,
Thanks
good
for
evening.
your explicit explanation, ma.
Yes.
So my question is, for the Court of Appeal, ma, are the cases presented, are they only appeal cases, or fresh cases can be brought to the Court of Appeal?
They are not just fresh, they are not just appeal cases. Fresh cases are also brought there. For example, election cases between states. If there's a state election, not even state election, governorship election, or for example, for presidential election, they go straight to the Court of Appeal. They don't start from the states, all right? They take election petition directly. They also take some direct cases on the interpretation of laws, but not the Constitution. It is the Supreme Court that takes interpretation of the Constitution. Do you understand? Please, I need a yes or no. All right, let's see. Kingsley. Yeah, Kingsley. Yes, Kingsley, please. We can unmute.
All right, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for the class.
Yeah.
Okay, my question is, can a lower court dismiss the judgment of a higher, can a higher court dismiss the judgment of a lower court?
Yes. You know it now. Everyone, okay. So let me not assume that you know it.
Okay, sorry, ma'am. Does it
Yes.
mean that it wasn't gotten right at the lower court
Hey, you know
judgment?
there are times they make mistakes. We are human, we make errors. Lower court can make error, you know, and that's why we have the higher courts. And the thing about us in this part of our advocacy system is that when a court make a pronouncement, that court cannot go and correct it again. It will have to be corrected by a higher court. So let's now assume the lower court makes a mistake. The higher court will be the one that will correct it, either nullify their judgment or dismiss it or send the people back that this judgment it should be taken back for the court to revisit it. It is only a higher court that can give that judgment. Do you understand, Kingsley? I want a yes or no in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay. Let's go. Joshua, let's hear. No, Suleiman. We can unmute. We have just 3 minutes to end our question and answers. Yeah, Suleiman, you can unmute.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Suleiman.
Thank you for the class. My question is, what distinguishes the Sharia court from the Sharia court of appeal, or would you say they are the same?
No, they are not the same. The Sharia court is just the way our own normal court is. Any cases that the lower Sharia court does and parties are not comfortable with it, they can appeal the Sharia court of appeal. Because in that Sharia court of appeal, those that are sitting there, we have lawyers that have studied the law of Sharia. But for the lower courts, we have real judges that have studied the law on Sharia, unlike the Sharia court where we can have imams together with just any judge, just another lawyer sitting there with them. All right. But what it means in essence is that any cases that people are not comfortable with at the Sharia court, they can always go to the Sharia court of appeal to get a result. And the idea is so that they don't go to the ordinary court where they will not be understood. An ordinary judge, I won't say ordinary now, a judge that hasn't studied the Sharia law will not be able to apply the Sharia law until they go to the to the Sharia, to the lawyers or the judges that have studied Sharia law themselves. And that is why we have the Sharia Court of Appeal. All right. Thank you, Joshua. I think Joshua is the last person so that we can call it a day. We have just 1 minute for you.
Good evening, ma. My question is about the Supreme Court justices in Nigeria. I know that the Supreme Court are also to fact check the precedent. So, has there been any instances
They do what? They do what?
To keep the president in check? So, has there been any instances that the Supreme Court has ever overturned a president executive order in Nigeria? And how many Supreme Court justices does it take to interpret a constitutional law in Nigeria? Is it the whole 21 or the half?
No, it's just 7 of them. It's just 7 of them that sits on interpretation of the Constitution.
Okay,
So, yeah. So,
can one Supreme Court pass a judgment or sit a case?
Can
one Supreme Court justice sit a case?
Not at all. They have the limits that they can sit over a case is 5. The lowest is 5, and the highest is 7. The idea is so that we can have these more heads, they are better than 1, right? For the Court of Appeal, we have 3 to 5. Okay, so you also asked a question if there has been any executive orders that has been
overturned by the Supreme Court.
Overturned by the Supreme Court, or that can the Supreme Court overturn executive orders?
Yes, by the president.
The only ways that they can overturn them is when we have people that take these cases to court. If these cases are taken to court and they seize it, yes, they have because remember, like we say, they are for check and balances. The judiciary, they are for check and balances. Now, I can't tell of a case that has been overturned readily available with me now, right? Of course, I can go and check, but then, like I said earlier, among their functions, among their core value is for check and balances. So if there's any executive order that is against the law of the state, that is against the jurisdiction, remember, nobody is above the jurisdiction. Nobody is above the Constitution. The Constitution will always override anything that stands against it. And so if there's any executive order that comes up, that is put in place by the executive, of course, if such is taken to the court by citizens or by anybody, or even by the House of Assembly, by the legislation, of course, such will be turned over. I really cannot tell of one that has happened before, but they are for checks and balances. We are doing paperwork now. We are doing theory. And this is what theory says. Theory says they can overturn them. Yes, Joshua, I think that's all right. Your hand is still raised. That's what I'm thinking. So thank you very much, everybody. Next week, we are going to be going to a new topic on contract. Remember, I have given you our course outline. Ensure that you read before the next class. And if you have any other question, you can always send it to my email. I will send my email. There, I can always answer you privately. Thank you. Enjoy your week.
Ma,
Yes,
please don't get the slide.
You
Ma,
said
can
what?
we get the slide? Can we get the slide?
No, you can't get the slide. A lot of you have been taking the pictures now.
No,
So
ma,
which
I'm not
slide
taking
again do you
pictures.
want? No, and I told you to go and read the textbook. Those books are not big. You can get one that you can read and it will suffice. Okay? A lot of you are taking the picture of my slide already. So what else do you need? Oh, you'll be fine.
Sorry, ma. Good evening, ma. Sorry,
Yes, I
ma.
can hear you.
Yeah, there's one slide before this one. I wasn't able to screenshot it. I just need to get that one.
You see? You see? Don't worry. Next week, let's talk about it next week, okay? At least
All
let's
right,
go
ma.
and work today. Take care. Bye.
Not giving us the author of the.
I've given you, it's in the course outline that I sent. I sent a
Oh,
course outline, yes.